'Twas the night before the presidential election, and Joe Rogan hosts Elon Musk on his podcast, and in the clip I'm about to show you, they absolutely shred Kamala Harris and the left. If there is anyone still considering who to vote for and haven't made up your mind, this is the video to watch. What these two talk about here is the most important issue. This is what is at stake. Elon starts here talking about the lawfare that the DOJ has waged against his companies. Joe Rogan gets into how YouTube censored his Donald Trump interview. They then get into exposing Kamala, Obama, and the left in what seriously might be one of the most brutal takedowns I've seen online, especially by two men so influential. But it's also straight up scary because of what they eventually get into at the end of this. There's a lot packed into this, but let's watch.
Basically, if the government wants to go after you, they'll just find a reason. You know, it's like that famous quote from Beria. You know, like Stalin's chief torturer, the head of Stalin's secret police, and he's like chief torturer, truly evil human being, like this guy Beria. One of his famous quotes was, "Show me the man, and I'll show you the crime."
Right.
They decide that you're the target, and then they figure out the crime afterwards. That's the issue. They decided SpaceX was the target. They just figured out the crime afterwards.
Which is so crazy because that's exactly what they're saying Trump is going to do if he gets into office.
They're doing all the things that they accuse Trump of doing.
Yeah. Openly.
Openly.
Yeah.
I mean, the sheer number of hoaxes that the Democratic Party is pushing over and over again. And it's like, look, I understand like politicians are going to, exaggerate. They're going to misspeak, and they'll tell occasional, untruths, whatever. That's how it is in politics. But when you have deliberate, concerted, repeated pushing of hoaxes, you're like, wait a second, like, come on, man, this is too far.
And you're supposed to be the good guys.
You're supposed to, and you claim to be the good guys? I'm like, exactly.
You're supposed to be the progressives.
Yes, the Dems are like, oh, we're the good guys. We're the honest people. No, hang on. You can't claim to be the good guys. You can't claim to be the honest people. If you're deliberately pushing hoaxes that have been debunked thoroughly.
Yeah.
Well, we're like even Snopes, which is a liberal thing, says it's bogus.
Yeah.
Like the Fine People hoax.
Obama just said that on stage.
Obama just said that. I was like, what the flying fuck?
He doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't give a fuck. They're just
That's
just
a flat
going
out
for
goddamn
it.
fucking lie.
Flat out lie.
Flat out fucking lie.
How about the other one where Kamala's campaign used what Trump was saying about protecting women and from illegal immigrants?
Thank you.
You remember that? What he was saying is, if the women like it or not, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
When he was saying that, they were trying to say that he was taking away women's right to choose, whether women like it or not. Like, that's not what he was saying.
Absolutely.
He was literally talking about protecting them from dangerous people that are sneaking in through the border.
Yes, exactly. They'll take like not even a full sentence, like a half a sentence from Trump, and then they'll push it on every ad, every speaking event, every
and it gets
media.
repeated on the news.
Yes.
This is what's crazy. They'll talk about it on these news shows, news shows.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, a recent one that came up, which had a lot of people, because a lot of people reached out to me, was like, they're like, oh, Trump says he wants to execute Liz Cheney. I'm like, that is utter bullshit.
It's not what he said at all.
It's not what he said at all. All he said was like, what he's saying is that, look, if Liz Cheney actually had to fight at the front lines, should think twice about going to war.
Exactly.
Like it's easy to go to war. It's easy to be a warmonger if you don't have to, risk dying at the front lines. Like basically it's fucked up if people are having like fancy dinners in Washington D.C. While people are being slaughtered in trenches. It's like you're not feeling the pain.
Exactly.
You're not taking the risk. It's someone else dying.
Exactly.
That's cruel and lacking in empathy. And all Trump was saying was that it's like Liz Cheney would be much less of a warmonger, because she's a huge warmonger, just like her dad, if she actually had to go to the front lines and fight herself.
And meanwhile, they're saying that he's saying she should be shot.
Yes, which is a total lie. But I had like tons of people call me this weekend saying, "Oh, Trump says he's going to put Liz Cheney in a firing squad." I'm like, that is an outrageous lie. And legacy media ran with that lie, big time.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's just wild to see. And if it wasn't for Twitter or X now, I don't think we would know about all this stuff. I think it would be very difficult for you. I think YouTube throttled. They did something weird. They won't say what they did, but they did something weird with the Trump interview that I did.
Yeah,
where you couldn't find it.
It doesn't make sense.
It made no sense.
I mean, it was like the biggest interview on earth.
Yeah,
and you can't find it.
Yeah. Not only that, it wasn't trending.
Bullshit.
It wasn't trending.
It wasn't trending.
No, it wasn't trending.
You're like there's just no excuse for that, man.
No excuse.
There's no excuse.
It was getting 1 million views. What was it? 1.4 an hour at one point in time. 1.5 an hour.
Yeah.
And it wasn't trending.
Yeah, and it's like your channel is a known channel. It's not like it was started yesterday. It's like
yeah,
it's like this is a high trust. Yours is a high trust channel. It's like you're not trying to sell scam crypto coins or something, you know. So
well, thank God we put it on X as well.
Yeah,
because I think just with your account and my account alone, it's like 70 million views.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, well, it's like you can't hide things anymore because of you. And if it wasn't for you, I think they would have had total control of social media by now.
Yeah. And to think that the left is the side that wants to censor individuals and companies for spreading misinformation is what should scare the living hell out of you. What would happen if we lost the free speech mechanisms of social media completely, and the only narrative that we were allowed to hear was what the government and the left wanted us to hear? Well, this is happening, as you are about to hear right now. You don't think that these leftists can do this? Well, think again. It's happening. Wake up and listen to this.
So as of today, when you were literally on your way here, you sent me this text saying that they're trying to lock you up in jail in Pennsylvania. Tell me what the fuck is happening.
Well, you know, there's the classic sort of Soros DA situation. So we're making a lot of progress in Pennsylvania. So you know, I've given a whole bunch of talks throughout the state because Pennsylvania is the linchpin in this election. You know, whoever wins Pennsylvania wins the election. So I've been giving talks. And I spent 3 years in Pennsylvania. I went to college in Philadelphia. So it's not like I'm not like a total stranger to the state. You know, I spent 3 years there, and we we've organized this petition in support of the Constitution, which I think is a good thing, and specifically asking people to, and we wanted this to be like registered voters in swing states. Like basically, we want to send a message to the politicians to say that the people care about the Constitution, because there've been all these attacks on the Constitution. They've been, especially on the Democrat side, they've been repeatedly saying that the First Amendment is an obstacle. And they're claiming, oh, the First Amendment is enabling disinformation, misinformation. And I'm like, yo, there's a reason for the First Amendment. Like freedom of speech, the reason the founders of the country put, you know, the freedom of speech there is because they came from countries where if you spoke your mind, you would get shot or imprisoned. That's why the First Amendment exists. And the Second Amendment is there to stop the tyranny of government. The Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, is there to protect freedom of speech. You know, and I've had these debates, especially with people in LA, because they're like, want to take everyone's guns away. And I'm like, yo, can you guarantee me that that we will never have a tyrannical government in the United States? Can you make that guarantee? They're like, well, nobody can make that guarantee. I'm like, then we need to keep our guns, because that's what's going to stop it.
That sounds crazy for people to hear, because they think about gun violence and gun problems and gun this and gun that. But that's the reality of the world that we live in, is that tyranny is possible, and it exists other places, and it's slowly existing. It's slowly rearing its head in the UK. You're seeing, I think the number of people that have been arrested for just social media posts is bananas. It's in the thousands.
Yes, several thousand people have been given prison sentences in the UK for social media posts where there was no explicit link to actual violence, but they just said it encouraged violence. I'm like, well, did anyone actually do anything as a result of that media post? Well, no, but they just and then they have a prison overcrowding situation in the UK, so they're quite literally releasing convicted pedophiles and putting people in jail for Facebook posts. That's an actual thing happening in Britain.
That is so wild.
Like you're like,
it's so wild that people can't see that.
What the fuck, you know, is going on?
And what's insane to me
Make
is
oil fiction again.
Yeah,
you know.
But it's all being encouraged by the left. Ketanji Brown
Absolutely.
Jackson, John Kerry, Hillary Clinton.
John Kerry was one of the people who said that he's on camera like a few weeks ago saying that the First Amendment is an obstacle to fighting misinformation.
Yeah, that's crazy.
This is what we are up against. It's real. And if you don't think it can get worse, think again. It's worse in Canada and the UK, these Western countries that have allowed these leftist policies and ideologies to grow. We have the opportunity to remain America in this election, to take our country back, to remain the land of the free and one nation under God. I pray tonight that we do not let this opportunity pass.